Well, it was another ho-hum night at PPG Paints Arena. Hi, I'm Dan Kingerski on the National Hockey Now and the Pittsburgh Hockey Now YouTube channel. So Sidney Crosby had a couple of goals and 3 points. The Penguins won their 5th in a row, and a star player came back from a serious health event as Chris Letang surprised everyone and returned just 12 days after suffering his second stroke in 8 years. The place was abuzz before the game. At 5 p.m., head coach Mike Sullivan said, yes, he would be available. And I think the general consensus was, no, Letang's not going to play yet. I had a little sneaking feeling that he might. And there he was in warm-ups, took the line rushes, and PPG just had a sense they were seeing something a little bit unique. However, the Penguins have been terrible in back-to-back games this season. Just 1-4-1 to this point in 6 games. Their only win was against the lowly Chicago Blackhawks. I guess that would be almost a month ago now at this point. However, the Penguins started strong against the Buffalo Sabres. I thought they really controlled the first period. Shots were even. The high danger chances heavily favored the Penguins. The Penguins worked the wall. The Penguins worked the rush. The Penguins really, I thought perhaps most importantly, defended very well on Saturday night here at PPG. All 5 players back in the zone. And then they really forced Buffalo, I think, to want it. They forced the younger, fresher Buffalo Sabres to have to work for those rush and those transition opportunities. And the Penguins, by not giving up the puck, by not turning it over, took the sticks out of the Sabres' hands. And so when Sidney Crosby scores and get a couple of deflections, it was kind of I think it was the Penguins' game from the beginning. The second period was a very low event kind of operation. The Penguins felt they gave up some chances in the second period. They didn't give up the big transition chances. They didn't give up the odd man rushes. They didn't give up the second and third chances. Sorry, there's my glasses. They controlled the game. Even if Mike Sullivan and Jeff Petrie said, the second period wasn't their best. No, it wasn't anybody's best. You had to maybe have a couple of cups of coffee there to stay awake in the second period. That's what the Penguins needed to do. They needed to kind of cool the Sabres' jets. They needed to take those younger legs out of the game. Where was Tage Thompson in the last couple of games? Sidney Crosby neutralized him. And tonight on home ice, here's a little matchup tip. I don't know if a lot of people noticed it. I know the Sabres coach Don Granato got Tage Thompson, Alex Tuch against Brian Dumoulin and Jan Ruda, a handful of times on Friday night. The Penguins really didn't allow that. They kept their third pairing largely away from the Sabres' top line. Now, it happened a couple of times, but by and large, P.O. Joseph, who played with Chris Letang, those two saw a healthy dose of Thompson and Tuch. Casey Middlestat supplanted Jeff Skinner, who was suspended 3 games for cross-checking Jake Gensel in the face on Friday. Middlestat was a non-factor on Saturday. In fact, the Sabres' top line was mostly a non-factor. So you add all of those things up, and it wasn't the most exciting game you're going to see at PPG. But I think fans will remember for Chris Letang coming back. I also think it's yet another little notch. Start talking about it. Start promoting it. Start pushing it. I think at this point, Sidney Crosby should be easily one of the 2 favorites for the Hart Trophy. But he won't be because he's not the flavor of the month. He's not the new face. It's just the same as it ever was for Crosby. He's just been so good for so long. I think it's taken for granted across the league. So there you go. Sidney Crosby for Hart. Penguins played good defense. They've won their 5th straight, points in 6, and you saw the surprise with Letang. That's the 5-minute postgame here on Pittsburgh Hockey Now and the National Hockey Now YouTube channel.